Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and today I am so excited for today's guest because absolute MVP inside the course, an Olympian, and NCAA track coach we have on the show today, breaking in at 41 years young with one of the largest medical device companies in the world. We get the pleasure of having Dorian Scott on the podcast. Dorian, what's up, man?
Jacob, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Excited, really excited.
Dude,
Grateful too. Grateful. Very
I'm
grateful.
so excited to have you, man, because I know so many people are gonna get gems from today's show because first off, you just have an amazing background. You have a cool background. I remember talking to you because I was a strength coach and wanted to work with college and be at D1 places, but then you get to meet an Olympian. You don't get to meet one of them every single day. And seeing somebody who's being able to do that, but also what I'm excited to, I know this is going to reach a lot of people in this way, is somebody who made
Mhm.
that switch, maybe, and I'm going to put in air quotes, later in life, right? You and I were just talking off air where 40 is still so young. But I get on calls with people all the time
Yep.
where they're like, oh, hey, Jake, I'm 41 or I'm 38 or I'm 42. I'm so old. And I'm like, you still got more than half your life to live. And so that's why
Mm,
I know that's another piece that, besides your whole story and everything we're going to dive into, you're going to be able
mhm,
to make such an impact to so many people that are putting that limiting belief on themselves that their age is what's holding them back or they won't have the opportunity. And so that's what I'm just so excited and pumped to have you on the show because also, man, you were just one of my favorites to just work with because you're just a doer. I mean, you and I talked off air too, is I didn't have to be like on the call with you every single day being like, what are we doing? You're like, give me the plan. I'll go figure it out. When I got questions, I'll let you know. And then you just go.
yeah.
And next thing I know, fifth round interview, final interview, got the job. Come on, man. Like it was just you taking action. So I just am excited to have you and would love for you. I put a little bit of what I know, but would love for you. Who is Dorian? Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you were doing, and then why you started kind of looking at medical device sales.
Okay. Well, I'm coming from a sports background. So like Jacob said, I'm a two-time Olympian. I went to Florida State. I ended up having a good throwing career there. I threw the shot put, if people don't know. I was a football player that got converted to throw shot put just for fun. And the next I kind of it took off. And then from there, I transitioned into coaching, and it just was a natural transition. I was already volunteer coaching while doing my professional career stuff. And as I got towards the my tail end, and I always try to kind of see the end first and just try to be like, all right, let me start preparing for the next steps.
Yep.
I made a natural switch into coaching. And coaching, especially at the university I was at, a lot of the coaching is recruiting. Recruiting is somewhat like sales, but
100%.
like it's 100% like sales.
Yep.
And you know, God, after doing it for about 10 years, I found that the recruiting part of it was probably the most exciting part for me. It was probably crazy for a lot of coaches, but the coaching came so naturally. And it's a lot of many days. I was just telling you, I have no problem going the extra mile. So not counting hours, working on Sundays. I don't mind doing the work. Um, but then I just got to a point where I wanted to do more with myself as far as more for my family, financial freedom, and just kind of break out of the little paradigm that I was with the track and field. My father's an ophthalmologist. My mom started a home healthcare agency. My sister followed my dad's path, became an ophthalmologist. We all worked in their offices. So healthcare and being in that sector has always been something that's in my family, which whether it was forced on us or not, and it was never forced on me. I was always an athlete. But after seeing your dad's a surgeon, he does well. He's had his best friend was a rep. They played golf all the time. God, this is back in the day where he used to be able to take us to like Devils games, Yankee
Yep.
games. They don't do anything like that now, but back in the day, it used to be like, you pick me up from school, we're going to a Yankee game, and it's just like, yeah, this is all from Wayne, and he's the rep.
Thanks a lot, Sunshine
And
Act.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But it turned me on to, all right, I see this guy's a big personality. I have a big personality. This guy is he doesn't seem like he's selling anything. It just seems like he's just being personable.
Yep.
So it was something that stuck into my brain. And then, it was like got recruited to be a head coach, move out to where I'm at, and the people that was there to hire me kind of left, and I was just like, this. I think this is the time where I can try to make that transition and make the push. And got with a lot of friends, got a lot with a family, got with my best resources, and everyone's like, "Yeah, you have transferable skills. It's something you should go after." And like I said, we're financially, my wife does pretty well, and it was just a chance. Just a chance. I'm not gonna lie. I never doubted myself, but I knew deep down, so, you might not ever get hired. Who
Yep.
knows? But I just never doubted myself. I knew it was gonna be something that I was gonna be successful at. And then once I figured out this is what I'm doing, I mean, I've accomplished a lot in my life. I'm an Olympian. I've made Olympic finals. I knew my plan was to no matter what, I have to invest in myself.
Yep.
So that's almost how I trick my subconscious into thinking, hey, we're about to make some things happen. I immediately started investing in myself.
Yep.
And I looked around and tried to figure out where things would be best for me. Heard the podcast. Um, Jacob has a lot of you have a lot of coaching in you.
Yep.
And going into a new realm, I knew I'm a coachable person, but I knew I wanted some real coaching, some realness. And I just kept to listening to the podcast, and you're chewing people out and letting people know they're not working hard enough. And I was just like, all right, cool. Let me look into his course. Let me see what it's like. Did some research. I mean, I thoroughly went into your stuff. And I said, okay, I think in conjunction with my hard work, this course, I'm gonna get what I want. And that's exactly what I did. I went all in on your course. Didn't really know what I was doing at first.
Yep.
Got a lay of the land. It's a self-paced thing. So right away I was like, all right, cool. I went through the course one full time, got on a couple calls, got on some of the office hours, got on some mock calls with Roxy.
Yep.
And I don't know, am I allowed to say her
Yeah. Yeah.
name?
No.
Oh,
100%.
got on
Yeah.
some mock calls with Roxy. Okay. And right away was able to see where my weaknesses are. I froze up one of the mock calls. I literally just froze up. And I was just like, damn, dude, it's not you.
Yep.
But it was just one of those things where you're in a new realm. Your why doesn't just come right off your tongue. You need practice. And that's exactly what I did. I went to everything early as much as I can, wrote down what my weaknesses are, wrote down what my strengths were, and then was like, I wrote down what is the plan to clear up some of these weaknesses.
Yeah.
I don't need Jacob and Roxy to clean up these work. I need to hop in the mirror. I need to hop on these LinkedIn phone calls, and I need to practice. And it all compounds and all makes sense. Where I'm going on rants, but
Go for
where
it.
I almost kind of went off the rails a little bit is I'm so competitive. So now you're hearing about, all right, man, I got this guy in 7 weeks. I got, 7 weeks? People get in 6, 7. That has to be me. All right, I'm going to work grind my face off to be one of those top guys. I want to break his record. And, I'm older, and I realize, let's slow down. Let's slow down. Let's just figure out what is this you're getting into. And I said, all right, Dorian, I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't even know what division I want to work with. I don't know what company I want to work with. But I know I have this list of things. That's LinkedIn. Let's LinkedIn as many people as possible. Let's figure out my why. And let's hop on these calls and send off these messages and just start practicing and practice, continue talking. I talk on the phone all the time. I talk to 18-year-olds, I talk to 17-year-olds, I talk to all these kids, recruiting them. Something different about talking to somebody that talks to surgeons all the time. You need practice. And gosh, after about 2-3 months, God, I mean, the first few calls, I made such a big deal out of them. Got, boom, put on the schedule, I got my phone schedule, I'm setting this up, I got my spreadsheet, and let's go. And by the time I got to 3-4 months, it's like, man, give me a call. Man, what's going on? I can talk to anybody at any time. And I think, and sitting there going through the podcast and all, it's all kind of all makes sense. Like I can do it at the beginning, but towards the second, third month, now it's becoming who I am. It's second nature.
Yep.
And figuring out what division I want to be, who knows? Let's just keep talking to every company. Let's get as much information. And I framed it the same way you framed it. Not, hey, give me a job. Man, tell me more about your journey. Tell me more about you and why you like this company. And guess what? Eventually, I'm going to be able to tell my story. So there's no point in me even mentioning it. I'm going to tell my story. let me just hear more about you. And then we come back. And then next year you get off the phone. The guy's like, oh man, that was a great car. I never said a word. You just spoke.
Yep.
But through listening to what they said, I'm starting to realize what division I want to be in. I'm starting to realize what kind of companies I want to be in. All right. I'm starting to realize, all right, who I have to be. I got to read this book. I met up with a couple guys for lunch one time, and I walked away like, geez, I got to change my whole vibe. And not saying I have to change who I am. I'm just realizing, no, things are more serious.
And how they carry
This
themselves.
is Yes, how they carry themselves, how they spoke about the job, how they spoke about talking to customers. And these guys were veterans, but I'm glad I was able to see it in the front line. They're all saying complimental things. Dorian, you're doing a great job. Dorian, you're going to do the right thing. But as I studied their vibes, it's like, okay.
Yep.
This is serious business. You can make a lot of money doing this, but
Yep.
you're also going to have to conduct yourself in a way.
In a way, because that's the point that comes to it. So first off, real quick, go back and listen to that last 5 minutes and just repeat it like 4 times, because Dorian put so many gems in there that like I can't even touch point, because he hit so many great points about the course, on who you become, on him putting in the work, on, hey, you're going to be confident, but guess what? You're not confident when you haven't done something in your new realm. It's okay. It can be a little dangerous and also, or a little scary. And then also, you say your why up here in your head all the time. There's a difference between saying that and saying it out loud. Oh, and there's a difference between saying it in your head, saying it out loud, and what facial expressions are you making while you're saying it. So when we're sitting there across from you, we can read it, right? That's why we do the coaching. And what you really said, what that was beautiful, is who you become in that journey, because it's no different than like me now when I was a personal trainer. And it's why I talk to you guys the way I talk to you. When I was a dude 23 years old who had $55 to my name, and I'm like, oh, let's do this, and how I thought and how I carried myself to, okay, now we're running real businesses. Okay, now we're actually doing 7-figure deals in med device. Now we're actually helping a lot of people. You become a different person. You have to, because also you need to become that. And what you're saying, and what I'm going to touch on to everybody, is because I can't, you guys all think when I'm talking to you guys on the podcast, because people will still hit me up, what's up, bro? I'm a very relaxed dude, and I'm a very cool and here. But you guys have to understand, when I'm out in the field, I'm not this dude. I am to an extent, but like when I'm on meetings for 7-figure deals, it's business. You have to conduct yourself a certain way, like Dorian said, because like yes, you can still do certain things, but when you come into healthcare and you come into a business where you're working with professionals, me and Dorian off air, we can talk, and we come from the athlete world, so we can be bros and talk that way. You're not talking to a doctor until you get to know them, and now they are your bro. But until then, you're not. It's strictly business, and some people are going to be always business. Some people are never going to be able to go in that realm. And so what Dorian is just saying, that is there in that transformation that he was becoming, he's also being like, okay, this is why I always try to be as nice as I can on the podcast, you guys. I'm like, hey, you guys can call me bro. I'm happy. It's not going to bug me. But you say that to the wrong dude, he's going to think you're like a douche from college, chugging beers, hitting your head with the beer cans. You're reaching out to them. They're going to be like, we're not wasting our time with you, frat boys. Like that, like
Yes.
somebody needs to hear that right now, because that's what they're literally sending messages saying, bro, and that's not going to work. Again, I've said this on the podcast before. Hey, I want to pick your brain. I've said this on our office hours. You've heard this a million times from me. I don't mind it. I don't care. Think you guys are going to professionals that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars that you want to learn from and get a job from. And you think the best line to send them is, I want to pick your brain? You think those guys are like, yeah, that's the person we need to hire? No. They're like, here's a person who can't even put a sentence together, and oh, I'm going to pick your brain. What do you, and like, let me tell you, because we're not dummies, and I'm just going to say it so everyone can hear it. I want to pick your brain, AKA, I want you to give me free help and get me a job when I haven't done anything and I don't deserve it, but I want you to do all the work. And then you guys are the same people after you send that message calling me and saying, well, I sent it and nobody responded back, and they're just, I don't know what to do. Right? Well,
No.
you have to put yourself in the other shoes. And so that's what Dorian is. I just wanted to touch on that because that was such a good point. It's when you are going into this, you're not changing who you are, but you are having to change certain things, because about this job, you can't come in dropping the F bomb and saying, bro, what's up? And dog, going into a hospital where you're trying to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And to the smartest people you've
No.
ever met. And so that's one thing I just really wanted you guys to state because I think that's a valuable lesson I haven't really touched on in the podcast a hardcore
Mhm.
about, but being able to go into that transformation because there's too many young people. And again, I hate saying young people because I'm the young people and then it makes me feel old. But there's too many people that are in college that are 23, 25, 27, reaching out, being nonchalant and wanting free advice and free help all the time. And I don't mean to me, this isn't about me or my course or anything. This is you reaching out to the random rep and you still saying, I want to pick your brain. Hey, I'm looking for, I just got this 18 times today. Hey, Jacob, looking for a job in Atlanta. Know of any? Yeah, I do. Guess what? I have a podcast that people listen throughout the whole world on. Yeah, but I don't know you and I'm not going to give it to you. And why would I give you to somebody I don't know? You could be a serial killer. We're not going to just
Yeah.
give it out. What Dorian did, what he do? Went and made relationships. He actually offered to take people to lunches. He actually sat there, came with a notebook, professional, dressed professionally, was ready, taking notes, being respectful. And then what are those guys saying? Dorian, you're right on track. Keep it up. And here, if we can help, let us know. That's what's going to happen from that.
Yeah. And you'll find that like I said, I'm 41. So, and I've had a full career as a track coach. I've recruited people whose parents had no money. I've recruited surgeons' children. So I'm coming from a different perspective when I like to have to read people. And what I found was talking to a lot of these reps and these managers, I was talking to people that have done a lot of personal development, they haven't openly said it, but I'm reading what things they're saying, and these are self-actualizing people that have done a lot of personal development. They're self-aware, self-conscious, and very conscious. And I've just, as I studied, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing it. But then at the end of the day, you're dealing with surgeons, so you're dealing with people that are overly self-aware, very conscious, had to manifest something big in their life, and probably had all types of struggles. So you have to, I'm saying not change, but you have to realize you also have to develop to be around these people and to talk and be able to make them feel comfortable and confident in you, if that
Bam.
makes sense.
And I need to touch on this point
Hmm.
for everybody to hear this. It's why I've said in the office hours and when we talk about in our course, when you go into an OR room, you're talking to four different education plus. You're talking to somebody who doesn't have a college degree to somebody who has a college degree, but then we always talk about different backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different upbringings, all this stuff. You're going to go to work with an employee that could be making under $60,000 to then the nurse who's making under $90,000. And again, maybe some of them are making more, but there's a mindset. And then you go to someone making 150 to the surgeon who could be making a million. Right? And I'm not saying they
Hmm.
all are, but that
Hmm.
you're having conversations with each and every one of them. And what Dorian is saying though is I really want you guys to get this. It's what we talk about this on in the course, and it's again, it's the course is just so much more than just hey, get in the med device field. It's mindset and stuff. Because I've said this on the podcast, and it rubs people the wrong way sometimes. But I'm sitting here telling you guys as somebody who has family who's back home and like where I come from. If you guys don't know, just go back and listen to some of my stuff and had $66 to my name, come from the poorest county in Iowa, had no money. Like, let me just tell you the difference between the people who make 50 grand a year and a 50 grand a month is one thing mindset. That's it.
100%.
That's it. And so, what Dorian is saying is you get to that point because, again, to your point, I wasn't ready to have those conversations about three, five, $700,000 a year jobs or $1 million investments until I started hanging out with the capital venture list that I was training, until I started dealing with the people who are making $10 million a year or 100 million, right? And then you start seeing, oh wow, that's different. That's how they think. And again, that's where they manifest. And then, oh, you're going to talk to a surgeon because again, when a surgeon's talking about a Ferrari or a house, that's just normal to them because they're like, okay, I can do this and all that stuff compared to just like someone who makes 50 grand is talking about a Honda Civic. But
Yes.
again, what you will hear and why the reason I'm just spending so much time on this and I want people to understand it is because the people who don't make that money hate those people. The people who are making under $100,000, they're like, they're selfish, they're this, they're this. And
Right.
I'm just here to say it. This has nothing to do with medical device sales. If you always keep that mindset, you will always be broke. If money is evil to you, you will never have it. But once you find out that money is fake, it's just a trade of value and it is abundance and everywhere because there's millionaires everywhere is you can have it too. And that's what Dorian is talking about is once you switch your mindset because guess what? When you go from making as much money in a month that you used to make in a year, you have to have a different like we talked about, you become a different person and you have to think differently. And this is the
Mhm.
beautiful part when you and I were talking off air is like, no matter what you do, man, you're not going back. I have to say this to myself too. No matter what I do, I could quit today and quit everything today. I'm never going back to that 23-year-old kid who had $1,200 to my name. But
Mhm.
here's the respect. If I needed to and I had $1,200 to my name, I'll go back to landscaping for $12 an hour. I'll go back to do what I need to do to get things done. But now the problem is I would never go down because I know too much mentally.
Mhm.
I know how to sell. I can go sell
Yep.
solar panels. I can go sell you right. And you get to that point, that's when your life will change. And so I just needed to touch on that because you're talking. That's all I do is self improvement. That's all I'm learning on, and it's what we're doing. And it's why
Mhm.
we connect so well because it's all you do. Because you have to if you want to be a high performer, and you can't put the limits
Yeah.
on yourself. And that's why I knew I was going to have you were going to have so much success because you were a coach, man. Like what you just said, you do more sales than an actual salesperson when you're recruiting. I know what coaching is. I know what the college world is. I know the stuff you were dealing with that nobody else does. And if you can do what you did and the grind you did for the pay you did it for, I know
Mhm.
when you get offered for money, dude, it's not even. I said this all the time in my interviews. They would be like, they're so impressed. And I'm like, I did this for free. Wait till you actually incentivize me.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And the last thing I do have to say is even though you're like, hey, took some time, did it? The reality of it, Dorian had the opportunity to be the record holder in our course. He got offered within 5 days of being in the course. He trusted the process, went hard, got an offer for 6 figures in trauma. But this is where we also go back into the coaching of the course. When you and I had a conversation, I asked what your goals are, and I'm a personal trainer. When you ask me your goals and you tell me
Mhm.
your goals, I'm going to hold you accountable to your goals. And Dorian had a salary that he needed to make a certain amount, and he has a son that he needs to be around for and watching him grow up. And when he
Mhm.
told me that, that's why when that other option came in that first week, I said, "Hey, it's not your option. You could go take this and you
Mm.
could break in, you could hit one, but it's not going to be the lifestyle that you told me you wanted, and I want you for your family to be there." And then
Yeah.
even though it took a little prolonged, you still trusted the process, and now you're with one of the largest, best companies in medical device sales that's going to allow you to have that work-life balance that you told me you needed to. And don't get me wrong, like we say this all the time, there will be days you work a long day, but there will also be days that you
Yeah.
have a lot more flexibility where it wasn't going to be where that original job was, that you now get to be with your family every day and financially support your family and have that career growth that we were looking for.
Yeah, no, it took some bravery. Cause same thing. I'm going from a whole different sector, and I was successful
Yep.
in what I was doing prior. So it was just like, all right, I'm breaking in. I'm getting offered this quickly, but I also had to trust. Hey, if I'm this impressive this early, let's sit back. Let's continue doing the work, continue improving who you are in the game, and talking to everybody. And same thing. I ended up in the place where deep down in the back of my head is where I wanted to be, but I just knew it might take a little while. And it ended up working perfect. And one thing I just wanted to touch on, what I picked up on in the interview process that I maybe wasn't as attuned to as before was I don't know if it's for all med device companies,
Yeah.
but you are joining a team.
Yes.
You're joining a
100%.
team of people. You're joining a team of people that have made good money prior to you being there and plan on making good money prior to coming or leaving. So being able to come off and be able to sell that you are someone that's going to add to culture, that's going to not not take away, but be someone that's going to help out and it's going to improve culture and is going to improve the team dynamics. That's something just to keep in mind as you're going through it. It's not just get a job, get this money. It's you're joining a team. These people have quietly and humbly been making a good amount of money and want to continue to do so. And you being brought on, you have to prove that you can create growth and is going to continue to sell and even do anything better. So having that in mind before you even talk to anybody is just really important. So you
What
can't
can
just
you add?
wing. You're not winging. Hmm?
Yeah, 100%. What I was going to say is, what can you add? What you're saying is
What can you?
knowing what your worth is before you even get take your background. Or this is why we talk about this in the course all the time. And Dorian was so good at it. I always said this: take your background away. Who are they getting when they get Dorian Scott?
Hmm.
Right? And that's what you knew who you were and what your values were and what you've already done to be able to offer a team to go with that. And the one thing I got to say to that exact point, because it's 100% on, like that's the mindset you have to have. But I want you guys to think of this one. And it's when I went to college. I played basketball in college for a year. It wasn't that good, but we made it, right? And so I just remember sitting in our first camp or our first meeting as all the freshmen came in, and our coach
Mhm.
came in and he said, "Hey everyone, so I wanted to put this meeting in because every single person in this room used to be the dude. Now you're in a room full of the dudes, and we're going to see who the real dudes are." And that was just in the freshman group. And then you go out and play with all the seniors and 22, 23-year-old
Mhm.
men, and you're still a boy, right? You go do that stuff. But the reason I'm saying that to you guys is it's no different than medical device sales. When you come out, you're the dude, you're the girl, like you're that person. But we all know this. You can have one best player and the team still gets sucked or still gets just choked and they just lose every
Mhm.
game, right? Can you have a bunch of the dudes or a bunch of those great players that all contribute, but they know that it's a team effort? But it's almost
Yes.
like I always think about, I'm from Iowa, so they all do wrestling. So it always made sense to me. But you have wrestling where you can go to state individually as a wrestler and you're the dude. But you can also go to state
Mhm.
as a team.
Mhm.
And then when you got a room full of the dudes that all buy into the same vision, watch
Different
out.
vibe.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I just wanted to state that for you is I hope you guys understand, like, when I say this, Dorian is a dog by himself, but and he's gonna do well wherever he goes. But then if you can get on a team with the other dogs and the dogs that all wanna run with you, that's where things get crazy, right? Because that I
Yeah.
got a buddy who that's we were best friends now, and it's like he was just looking for another dude to just run with, and here I am, like, 2 young dudes that have no limits on ourselves that are just ready to go. Like, you watch out because they talk about, one person like, I just saw a thing by Chris Rock, and I'm going off on a tangent, but it was a little thing by Chris Rock, and he's like, "Relationships are hard." He's like, "No, it ain't. It's hard when only one person tries,"
Yep.
right? He's like, "2 people can move a couch pretty easily." And the reason I just say that is it goes back to this whole team effort into medical device sales. If you can be the person who I'm gonna pull my weight, but where the frustrations come into medical device sales and in this world is when someone's pulling all the weight and someone's taking none of the weight. And now that person has to overachieve to pick up the weight of the person. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
They'll still help out, but at a certain time it goes away. At a certain time,
Yep.
I've been on those calls where they're like, just drop them. Because guess what? I'm gonna
Mm.
perform either way. I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
either way. I'm a dog. But why let's just go get another dog. And that's what I just
Yeah.
want everybody to be able to hear in this thing because you're 100% right, man. It's a team. You have to be a go-getter and you have to be able to rock it, but again, you can't just be a lone wolf all the time because guess what? This is a team effort.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, towards the end of the process, well, I didn't know when it was gonna end, but I reached a point where I was like, all right, you're definitely getting a job. You got a couple managers that are like trying to scramble things and whip things together. And then it came down to just, all right, I don't mean to get bougie, but all right, I want a manager that I like. I want a team that I feel like are beasts. I want to when I talk to other people in the around the country from the company, I want to hear that confidence and that just that they have that dog in them and they're willing to put their future on the line and try to get as much money and slash help the cause as much as possible. And that's what I came down to. I was like, all right, you know what? Let me. All right, I went from struggling, not knowing, to I got a couple options here. Hey, man, like it's time to celebrate.
And let's preach a little bit on that one real quick is because this is what we tell you guys in the course. The course isn't just to get you a job. The course is to get you multiple options to then go take the
Hmm.
best option that's going to probably give you the best work-life balance and pay you the best. And we also know how to negotiate those to make sure that happens. But the reason I'm just saying that is you just heard, guess what? My dad used to say this all the time. Beggars can't be choosers. But guess what?
Hmm.
When you got options, you can choose. You don't got to beg. You don't got to take anything. And that's what I just want you to hear is like, that's what Dorian did. He committed to it. And that's why I'm so proud of you, man, is you committed. You fully went in. You're one of the people who didn't ask all these questions. You're like, I trust you. I'm
Mhm.
here. Let's do it. You put in the work. And then you saw how it was just working. Every time I talked to you, new interview, new opportunity with a new company, and you were doing it, then led you to the confidence of where you're at to then also be like, this is what I'm taking. I remember,
Yeah.
man, 3 interviews before you, like in the 3rd round, you're like, this is mine. It's in the bag. I'm going for it. Right? You're just speaking it because you also knew this fits all my boxes, and I'm gonna die
Yeah.
before I get before I get let go on this. I'm gonna get this thing done, and you just did it.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Yeah.
just want to continue to put out there. But for everybody listening, again, all these people will tell me, "Oh, I only got one option. Oh, it's that." Everybody asks how we get people hired at such above the average, right? How you're coming in? How do you come in above 6 figures? Well, when you know what you're doing and you know how to
Yeah.
do it and you know how to play the game, that's how you do
Yeah.
it compared to everybody who's listening to this right now. I just need to say this because it's going to hit home. All you guys and girls that are trying to get in and you don't know what you're doing, you're desperate. You're just trying to get the first job to take it. You don't know if it's a good job and you don't know it's a bad job. You're just trying to get the first job. And now you wonder why you're getting a job that's going to pay you $61,000. It's taking you 6 months to get in or more. Usually I see between 12 and 24 months if you don't know what you're doing to get into the industry. And then you're trying to get in. Now you made 60 some $1,000. You don't know what you're doing. You're there for 2 or 3 years trying to figure out what you're doing just to come in to barely make 100K, then to try to figure out why you're in there compared to we got somebody in under 4 months hired who's over 6 figures right away, knows what to do, knows how to come and crush it, and is going to go in. I am putting my name on the line. I can sit here and tell you that Dorian Scott is going to crush it in medical device sales. That Dorian Scott will be one of the top performers when he goes to his companies and he's going in. Like I can sit here and tell you because you've trusted the process. You, like you said, you invested in yourself, and now guess what you just did? You saved a lot of time and you saved a lot of money
Yeah.
and heartache.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, my last little advice for anybody that's listening is even the small, minute details in the course, in the booklet, work it like you're Jordan. Just work it. Just if you have nothing to do, send out your LinkedIn messages. And even if you don't get any responses, my LinkedIn message, like it changed. And I remember one time I got on
It's
a call
got to.
with you and you're like, Dorian, that's way too long. That's way too long. And we shrunk it down. And I swear the next week I was getting hits left and right. And I was like, okay, this thing just keeps moving. You can't just send out a bunch of messages. No one's hearing me back. Let me try. Just keep giving the extra mile with every single detail regularly, and it will happen. Even if you don't know what you're saying at first, and I'm good, I can speak, but I knew what I was saying was starting to transform to fit the mold. Work it. Just keep working it.
Exactly.
Just
And
keep working.
to your point, man, that's the whole point of the course is you guys and I say this to everyone when we're on the phone, not being mean, but you guys just don't know what you don't know. And that's okay.
Mm.
That's why we're here kind of like with the training wheels or the floaties while you're going in, giving you enough to go get it. But then what the whole process is to have you while you're doing it and you're doing the work, you're learning what you did. You're learning as you go. So then you can clicks, then you can turn it over to the next stone and then you can make the change. Because like you said, yeah, it's always going. And let me just make this is going to add a lot of value. If you guys are sending messages that I have to scroll down, nobody will ever reply. You're talking to reps that if it's over 3 sentences long, they're probably not going to read it. Right. So I just helped a lot of people that are sending out messages that are paragraphs again. But like to that point is you always have to be changing because welcome to sales. And you know this is why it was going to be easy for us. You're a coach. Every athlete you ever recruited is different. They have a different background, they have a different upbringing, they have a different family situation, a different socioeconomic, they have different ways they communicate. You can't do the same thing twice with everybody. Now you can come up with a generalized thing that possibly works, go shoot it out, see what's getting the best response throughout the things, and then change it to more
Mhm.
personalize it. But to think that you're going to just send one message to 1,000 people that it's all the same and it's going to get the same feedback, it's not. And that's why Dorian, again, going back to why I knew what, because again, all I have to hear is you're an Olympian. Oh, that means you're coachable, you're willing to work, you're willing to make changes, and you're going to put in the hard work. And that's what you just did. And then again, you just every single time like that, you were coachable. And this is the last thing I have to say. You weren't afraid to ask. You weren't
Mhm.
being like, hey, I'm not sure, man. What do I actually need to do? And you did it. I'll tell you. The next week I talk to you, you made the change the first day, and then you telling me all the success you're having. And it's again because you went in and put in the work. And so just want to tell you, man, I'm so dang proud of you. Like I know you're gonna
Appreciate it.
absolutely crush it, but like it was such a pleasure. to watch your transformation of the Dorian
Mhm.
who got into this course to the Dorian who's now to where the Dorian in 6 months to 12 months is gonna be. It's just gonna be awesome to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm beyond excited. And same thing, I'm just grateful for the course. It's just a good guide. I was willing to I can work my face off. I'll work as hard as I possibly can, but I don't want to work it into a brick wall. This made sure everything I did, every idea, every piece of energy I put in was worked into the system and it fit into the mold. And so the office hours, the calls, everything made sense. And even when I was just like, all right, well, I don't need to go to these office hours. I'm gonna check it up because I knew I had stuff to work on. There's no point in me sitting there asking the same questions. Like, go work and then come back, and then go work and then come back. And that's how I did it. I know some
Yep.
people just stay in it, but the fact is, you have access to either stay in or be out, or work in, work out. And the team is there, the group is there, the knowledge is there, everything's being shared. And even like I said, I went quiet a little bit because I'm 40 and I can't keep up with the text messages. But there's little things that are encouraging. There's little things that people are saying that I'm seeing. There's pictures in the group message of somebody out to lunch. Those things are inspiring, and just use the whole community because it worked for me. I try to use every realm of it, and it's paid off. I really couldn't be happier with the trajectory of my life, especially coming off a couple careers at this point. So
Dude,
grateful. I really hope that I inspire some other people to kind of make the change.
you about to make me cry, man. Because like, when just hearing that, man, that's like it just makes me so that's why I made this. It's why we do what we do, man, is just being able to see other people's lives impacted and changed for the better. And like I told you off air, knowing what the trajectory of your life is gonna be now. That you get to watch your kid grow up and that you get to be there and financially take care. Like that's the most rewarding part. And knowing that like that picture, the reason I always think about it and I get a little emotional is one of our students who's with one of our former students who's already hired, and they were on a road trip and they got to meet. And that my coach texted me, she's like, just understand they would have never known each other if it wasn't for you. Um,
Mm.
and that's a cool thing to just be able to be like, it's a community. And I've said this from day one. That's what this is, man. It's like just being able to get a lot of great people that get to connect with each other and help each other change these lives. And like, again, like, this isn't the last time we're ever going to talk. It's I told you, when you have questions, you're going to be calling me and we're going to be coaching you and getting you where you need to go. And it's just good people around good people that want to go after and attack and get something out of life. And that's what it's
Yeah.
about. So, man, again, proud of you. The one thing I do want to say before we get off this is, where can these people find you?
I'm in look, where like
Like
online and
LinkedIn,
stuff.
like yeah, LinkedIn, man. Not don't give your
Oh,
address to the house, but give
I'm on
like
Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm
yeah,
on
LinkedIn is where
LinkedIn. I'm not
that's where I would tell these people to
LinkedIn.
reach
LinkedIn.
out. So just go like Dorian
Yeah,
Scott on LinkedIn.
yeah. Dorian Scott on LinkedIn, and like I said, I'm 40, so social media, I'll get to you when I get to you. But I'm a lot of people paid it forward for me to be in this spot right here. So I will put in the effort to make sure I pay it forward, and I'll spread the word to as many of my coaches or athletes because you do have the person, but you just got to have the access and you have to have the knowledge that this is even out there.
Yeah.
And if people can read your personality, see the type of work you've put in, they'll die to want to try to teach you and try to want to coach you and want you to be in sales. You just got to show that you're willing to do it.
Bam. 100%, man. Well, hey, appreciate you so much. So proud of you. If you guys are
Appreciate
interested in breaking into medical device sales, again, just feel free to reach out. The link in the course in the description. Again, it's where we go and be able to help people like Dorian. And we went over 1,000 people that we've helped break into medical device sales in the last 2.5 years. And so if you guys are interested and really serious about breaking into medical device sales, we only take 5 people a month that we want to work with, and make sure that it's a good fit. So feel free to reach out. You can apply online and we can see if it's a good fit. You can also reach out at New to Medical Device Sales on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all the above, and then reach out to me on LinkedIn. So appreciate you guys listening. Until next time, peace.
Take it easy, Jacob.